You're quiet today. Still feeling in that in between state. You mentioned.
So today is my new topic about understanding the basic of financial independence. So we discuss with this topic.
Financial independence. Now we're talking. Where do you want to start?
Okay,
Well, basics or something more specific.
what
I'll take that as a
does
let's go.
what does financial independence mean to you?
Basically, it's the point where your money works for you instead of you working for your money. Imagine not having to trade your time for a paycheck just to survive. It's less about being rich and more about having total control over your time. You think you've got a decent handle on your current setup, or are you looking to totally overhaul things?
Why is financial independence important in today's life?
Honestly, it's all about the freedom to say no. Think about it when you're not stressed about the next bill. You can choose work you actually like, spend more time with family, or just take a breather when you're burnt out. It takes the desperation out of the equation. Ever felt like you're stuck in a loop just because the paycheck is the only thing keeping things moving?
At what age should people start learning about money management?
Ideally, as soon as they get their first bit of pocket money. It's a habit, not a math problem. The sooner you get the hang of tracking where things go and the difference between a want and a need, the easier it gets. Most people wait until they're drowning in bills to learn it, which is kind of like learning to swim while you're in the middle of the ocean. I think that's where the gap is. People just aren't taught this in school.
What are the basic habits of financial independence people?
The big ones are usually pretty boring on the surface, but they're what actually move the needle. First, they've got a strict handle on where the money's going, no blind spots. Then they focus on paying themselves first, meaning they save or invest before they spend a dime on anything else. And they're usually obsessed with avoiding lifestyle creep, when you start making more money, but your spending just climbs right along with it. They keep their costs low and their investments high. Most of these habits are just about discipline over impulse. You think that sounds doable? Or does the idea of tracking every penny feel like a nightmare?
Okay, how can saving money improve your future?
It basically buys you options. If you've got a cushion, a surprise medical bill, or a sudden business dip isn't a catastrophe, it's just an inconvenience. Plus, it gives you the leverage to take a risk, like starting a new venture or learn a new skill without worrying if you'll be able to eat next month. It's essentially peace of mind in the form of a bank account. Ever had a moment where having a little extra cash completely changed how you handled a stressful situation?
What is the difference between needs and wants?
Wait, what are we comparing?
I am asking what is the difference between needs and wants?
Oh, got it. Needs are the non negotiables: food, shelter, basic health care. Stuff you actually can't live without. Wants are the extras: the fancy coffee, the latest phone, the upgraded car. Basically, you can live without it for a month to one.
Why do many people struggle with managing their finances?
A lot of it is just how we're wired. We're built for instant gratification. Getting that reward right now feels way better than a theoretical reward in 10 years. Toss in a bit of social pressure to keep up with the neighbors, and it's a recipe for overspending. Plus, like we said, most people never actually learn how to do this in school. It's just expected that you'll figure it out on the fly. Think it's more about the psychology of it or just a lack of a real plan.
Why do many people? How can but getting help control expensive?
It's a tough cycle to break. When you're already feeling the pinch, paying for a financial advisor or a fancy course can feel like just another expense you can't afford. Kind of a paradox. You need the help to save money, but you need money to get the help.
What are some common mistakes people make with money?
The biggest one has to be relying on a single source of income. It's like building a house on one pillar. If that pillar breaks, the whole thing comes down. Then you got things like paying off low interest debt while ignoring high interest stuff, or just not having an emergency fund at all. But honestly, the silent killer is lifestyle creep. The second people get a raise, they buy a bigger car or a nicer place, and they're still living paycheck to paycheck just with fancier stuff. You think any of those sound like common traps in your line of work?
Okay, what is it important to have multiple sources of income? What is it important to have
It's
multiple
basically,
sources of income?
it's basically an insurance policy for your life. If one stream dries up, maybe a client leaves or the market shifts, you still got other taps running. It stops a single bad day from becoming a total crisis. Plus, it usually lets you take more creative risks because you're not terrified of losing your only paycheck. You've been exploring AI tools lately. You think that could be a side hustle for you?
How can social media help people learn financial skills?
It's a double-edged sword, really. On one hand, you've got a ton of like free bite-sized advice from people who've actually done it. It's way more accessible than a textbook. But then you have the other side, the get-rich-quick gurus showing off rented Lambos to sell you a course. It's all about finding the voices that focus on the boring stuff like budgeting and indexing rather than flashy promises. Pretty good at spotting the fake stuff, right?
What role does discipline play in financial success?
It's the whole engine. Knowledge is great, but knowing you should save isn't the same as actually doing it when a new gadget comes out. Discipline is what
Walaikum
closes the
salam.
gap between the plan and the result. It's about choosing what you want most over what you want right now. You've mentioned before that discipline is more important than motivation for productivity, and that's exactly how it works with money. Does that feel like the hardest part for most people?
How can small daily savings become a big amount over time?
That's the magic of compound interest. It's basically money making money. When you save a little bit, that money earns interest, and then the next month you earn interest on your original saving plus the interest you already made. It snowballs. A few bucks a day might not feel like much now, but over a few years turns into something substantial because it grows exponentially. You think most people just miss out because they don't see the immediate result?
Okay, how can why should people avoid unnecessary spending?
Because every dollar you spend on something you don't need is a dollar that isn't working for you. It's like leaking oil from a car. You might not notice it at first, but eventually you're going to run out of fuel. Unnecessary spending just keeps you tied to the grind longer than you have to be.
What
Does that
is
make
the
sense?
okay? What is the importance of investing money wisely?
Investing is how you actually get ahead. Saving is just protecting what you have, but investing is about making your money grow faster than inflation. If you just leave it in a basic account, the buying power actually drops over time. Investing in things like stocks, real estate, or even your own business allows you to build wealth while you sleep. It's the difference between working for money and having your money work for you. You ever thought about where you'd put your money if you were starting a portfolio today?
Okay, how can financial independence reduce stress in life?
It kills the what if anxiety. When you aren't living on a knife's edge, the background noise of stress just disappears. You don't wake up at 3 a.m. wondering how you'll handle a sudden car repair or a dip in business. It turns life's big problems into manageable tasks. You've mentioned feeling burnt out before. Imagine that pressure just vanishing from the. Does that sound like the dream, or is it more about the security for you? Or
Okay, very thankful. Okay, then last question: what is you give message to the beginners?
start small and be patient. The biggest mistake people make is trying to do everything at once and then quitting when they don't see $1 million in a month. Just focus on one habit first. Maybe it's just tracking your spending for 2 weeks. Once that's a win, move to the next thing. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And the most important thing is just to start. You've got a good head for this, so
Okay,
just keep that
thankful.
curiosity going.
Thanks, very thanks to conducted this meeting. We will become again on new topics. So that time we are leaving now. Okay, very thanks.
Anytime. It was a good